Alright, what's up everybody, back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today's another episode of the Look-In series. Today we're talking about the Utah Jazz. If you haven't watched any of the first few episodes, go watch them. Did know about all the bottom teams. So all the teams that so far haven't made the playoffs and working their way up by record. If you haven't caught that trend. Yeah, thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it a lot. If you do have the content, consider subscribing, turn notifications on, stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Yeah, Spurs won. Spurs looking really popped off, so thanks for that. And yeah, we're just gonna try to keep this series going, man. I'm really like this series so far. I like how it's turning out. Hope you guys like it too. And we're talking about the Utah Jazz today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. So the Jazz this season, they finished 37-45, 12th in the West. They were expected to come in and probably win like 19, 20 games this season. No one expected. Everyone thought the Utah Jazz was going to be the worst team in the league. Because it was just, it went through a whole new phase, trading Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, all their guys that made their playoff teams, and trade all the way for a lot of picks and a lot of young players that haven't really been proven yet. And so everyone thought Utah was just going to come in and be bad. I did too. I thought Utah was going to come in and win like 19, 20 games and just be horrible. But the Jazz exceeded those expectations by far. They finished with 37 wins. Actually look like a competitive team. We're actually in the play-in race until the last week of the season. They're actually in the race to have a play-in spot, which is insane. Yeah, I mean, defied all expectations and odds this season. There's so many players that really took steps in the right direction, looked good. Will Hardy came in as a first-time head coach and did a really good job, especially on the defensive end. They look pretty good. Offensively, they got a lot better as the season went on. But yeah, and the Jazz look like they're building something decent over there right now. Still got a lot of stuff to decide, draft picks and young players and extensions, stuff like that. But as far as this season, Utah had a spectacular year. Should be very proud of this season. Looking at their players, we have to talk about Lauri Markkanen because I mean the guy killed it this year. They got him in the Donovan Mitchell trade. He was a top pick a few years ago. Couldn't really find it in Chicago. Had some good moments, but couldn't really find it consistently in Chicago. Went to Cleveland, was a solid starter. Comes to Utah, and all of a sudden he blossoms in Utah into an all-star and a star player. I mean, he should be the most improved player. That should be his award. He averaged 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. Shot almost 50% from the field, 39% from 3, 87% from the free throw line. Just took steps forward, took huge steps forward. Was just a solid starting player. Forward that can stretch the floor, get to the rim a little bit. But then this year he turned into a flat-out star on both ends. On offense, he was very efficient, getting buckets from everywhere, hitting threes, dunking on people, getting his own bucket, being a solid playmaker. And on defensively as well, he held his own. So yeah, just really crazy to see Lauri Markkanen reach his potential. And who knows what's gonna happen years after? But this year, Lauri had a great year. Now kind of turn into the Utah Jazz kind of building block for the future. The Jazz now come out of the Donovan Mitchell trade with a guy like Lauri Markkanen that they can kind of build with for the future. Because Lauri Markkanen's only 25 still. He's still got a lot of good basketball left in him. If he can stay around this level. I don't expect him to be like a 25 big point game scorer the rest of his career. But if he can stay around this level of just being really good, I think that would do wonders for Utah. What a season for Lauri Markkanen. Deserves all the credit and deserves that MIP award. Also, Jordan Clarkson had a very solid year as well. He was in a lot of trade talks. Kind of surprised he didn't really get traded, looking at how the Jazz handled the trade deadline, trading away all their veteran players. But Jordan Clarkson had a pretty good year as well. He averaged 20 with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. He shot 44% from the field, 33% from 3. It kind of took over as a starter. Usually, he was a 6th man of the year a few years ago. Now started every game this year. And actually played very well as a starter, Scoring, of course, obviously he's gonna take his shots. But also he was being kind of a point guard once in a while a little bit too, finding his teammates, making plays and stuff like that. He is 30 years old, so I don't expect him to be a part of the Utah Jazz for that much longer. He does have a player option next season for 13.3 mil. Oh no, 14.2 million. I'm sorry. So we'll see if he takes that or not, or maybe he declines it and goes into free agency. Very surprised they didn't try to trade Jordan Clarkson because he has an option next year. They did try to give him an extension. He said no, so he most likely wants to go to a playoff team and wants to win, which I don't blame him for. But he showed a lot of value this year. It's not just the guy that's going to come off the bench and just score a lot of points. He can also do a little bit more than that, you know? Whatever team he goes to, he's probably going to go back to that six-man role, but at least he still has that confidence of being like, I can start and I can be really good. And another guy we have to talk about, Walker Kessler, drafted mid-first round by Minnesota. Then it was involved in the Rudy Gobert trade, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. And started the year off solid, but then all of a sudden, like, he just blossomed into a really, really good center. Like, Walker Kessler really had a phenomenal rookie year. He averaged 9 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks per game, shot 72% from the field. He was, phenomenal on both ends. On offense, just being around the rim, lobs, catching lobs, getting easy layups, stuff like that because he's big. But on defense, I mean, he was just anchoring the paint like no one else, man. He was really blocking shots like everywhere. He had like 4 or 5 block games. I think didn't he have like a 7 block game or something like that as well? Like he was phenomenal, and he looks like he's gonna be a future piece of the Utah Jazz as well. Cause I mean, they traded away Rudy Gobert and gets a rookie to fit right in and do what Rudy Gobert has been doing for the past few years. It's amazing, and he should be a part of Utah Jazz plans for a long time, especially if he keeps playing like this and always. Hopefully, he only gets better. He's still only 21 years old, so hopefully he gets a lot better, and he can be defensive player of the year, all defensive teams for a long time if he does what he did this rookie year and keeps doing it. But that was a really good get by the Utah Jazz, getting him and inserting him into the starting lineup, and he was really good. But the Jazz also had a lot of other players that did well also. Taylor Horn-Tucker was very inconsistent with the minutes. He kind of started the year off playing a few games, and he's kind of sad. Will Hardy's still trying to figure out his rotation. But near the last 2 months of the season, they put him at point guard, and he played really well. He finished averaging 10 points, 3 rebounds, almost 4 assists. Shot 42% from the field, only 28% from 3, but then again, he's not really a 3-point shooter. But putting him at point guard, he really kind of found his way. Kind of controlling the offense, attacking. He loves to attack the rim. Really good finisher. Can score around that mid-range area. Not a very consistent 3-point shooter, but can hit him when they need him to. And that was very good. I liked the trade when they made it, getting THT, kind of giving him a chance. And near the last 2 months, he kind of showed, why he was so big in LA and why the Lakers fans really wanted him, because he can have big nights, and do a lot of things on the court on both ends. So that was good to see. Colin Sexton, unfortunately, had a very injury-plagued year. He only played in 48 games, but when he did play, he was solid. He averaged 14, 2, and 3. Shot 50% from the field, 39% from 3. He's just a guy that he'll probably turn into that Jordan Clarkson role for them. Come off the bench and just get buckets. That should be his role. Just come off the bench, get buckets. That's what he did in Cleveland as a starter, and I think that's what it's going to be, especially if Jordan Clarkson is on his way out. Colin Sexton just fit right into that role. Come off the bench and get buckets. I think it's his kind of game. And then we also got something unexpected, the revival of Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn, fifth overall pick back in 2016 out of Providence. Played 1 year in Minnesota, had a pretty bad rookie year. Got traded to Chicago in the, was it in the Zach LaVine trade or in the Jimmy Butler trade? I honestly don't remember that well. Sorry. But, he goes over to Chicago, has a good year or two, but then kind of injuries hurt him, and he kind of falls off, goes to the G League, plays a few years there. Playing well in the G League, gets a contract from Utah, and then all of a sudden he comes to Utah, and he played really well. He played in 22 games. He averaged 13 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Shot 53% from the field, 47% from 3, even though he only took 1 a game. But he looked very good controlling the offense. Has some good assist games, playmaking for his team. The defense is going to be there as a defensive guard, but then also attacking the rim, not being afraid to go get his own when he needs to. Very, very impressive by Chris Dunn to kind of try and revive his career. And hopefully Utah gives him another chance next year. He'll be on the team and he can stick around, man. Love to see that when guys kind of disappoint, don't really achieve much the first few years, and they come back as a new player and kind of revive their careers, man. Nice to see. Also for Utah, I really like Ochai Agbaji, their rookie as well, the guy in the Donovan Mitchell trade. He averaged 8 points, 2 rebounds, and assists. He shot 42% from the field, 35% from three. I think he's going to be a really good role player for the rest of his career, kind of a 3-and-D-ish kind of player, but also can do a little bit more on offense, like play make and get his own bucket when he needs to, stuff like that. But I think that was a really good get as well. And now we're talking about the two big trades they made in the offseason, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert trade. Looking back on them now, it kind of looks like it kind of worked out so far for both teams after 1 year of this trade. I mean, the Cavs took a big jump. Donovan Mitchell was a superstar, and the Cavs are in the playoffs as a 4 seed right now. It look like they have a really, really, really bright future. And then for Utah, they got Larry Markkinen, who is kind of going to be their future. It looks really good. Ochai Agbaji looks like he's going to be a very good player for them. And then they still got first-round picks, even though they may not be that high. Because the Cavs are probably going to be good for the next few years. They got a 2025 first, a 2027 first, a 2029 first, and a 2026 and 2028 pick swap. So then again, anything could happen. But right now, it looks like a decent win-win. The Cavs got what they want. They wanted a star. They kind of boost their team up. They got that. The Jazz got picks, and they got a guy that could be a young star. And two very solid other contributing players. So that looks really good for both teams. Too bad can't say the same about the Rudy Gobert trade. Well, for the Timberwolves. For the Jazz, we're doing a Jazz video. For the Jazz perspective, I mean, this looks like a freaking... Man, this looks like a steal. I mean, geez. Oh my God. Looking at what the Jazz got. Jesus. They got Malik Beasley, who they traded away. Patrick Beverley, not there anymore. Leandro Balmero got waived. Jared Vanderbilt's not there anymore. Walker Kessler looks like he's going to be really, really good for the future. They got a 2023 first, which is this year could potentially be another lottery pick, depending on what happens on Friday in the Minnesota play-in game. If they lose that game, they probably have like the 14th pick. So that'd be another lottery pick for Utah. Or at least it'll be a mid-first round pick because they're probably going to lose in the first round anyway. A 2025 first, a 2027 first, a 2029 first, and a 2026 pick swap. Gee, oh my God. For Rudy Gobert. And you know what's happening over there in Minnesota with Rudy and what happened the last few days. I mean, this looks like a steal for the Utah Jazz. They got a really good center that they replaced Rudy Gobert with, as only 21 is doing the same thing Rudy has been doing when they paid him so much money. And then they got 4 future first-round picks that I think are unprotected. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they might be unprotected. And if they are, oh man, sorry, Minnesota. And then they got a pick swap as well. Then they traded away Beasley, Vanderbilt, and got back. I think they got back like 1 first-round pick, so maybe you can add 1 more onto that mix. But yeah, this looks like a steal for Utah. Really, really looks like a steal for the Jazz. Yeah, so looking at their future in the draft, they're gonna have a lottery, maybe potentially 2 lottery picks. Their own pick right now is projected to be around the 9th spot. Maybe they can move up or move down. Who knows? But I think I don't think they need to hit on a star. I mean, I think maybe if like a guy like Cam Whitmore is there, definitely take him. But if not, I would like a guy like Grady Dick maybe on their team. Kind of a guy that can help out, space the floor, shoot. Has a lot of good trades offensively. I would like that. I think maybe even like a Casey Wallace, a point guard, a steady point guard for them that can do it on both ends. Depending on what they do with Chris Dunn and if they want THT to keep being a point guard for them, Casey Wallace could be a steady option that they can kind of develop. And maybe, honestly, I wouldn't even mind them taking maybe like a project guy. Maybe not a project guy, but a guy that maybe needs a little bit more, like a Bryce Sensabaugh from Ohio State, that's just a bucket getter. It also depends on their free agency move, what they want to decide, if Jordan Clarkson leaves or what they want to do with Colin Sexton, because they already have those 2 guys that are pure bucket getters. I don't know if they want a third one to add on to the mix. I think one of those guys are good. I wouldn't even mind them giving a shot at like a Taylor Hendricks if he falls, or Maxwell Lewis, potentially. Just another forward, that has a lot of potential. And then with their mid-first round pick, again, maybe Maxwell Lewis if he's still there. But even maybe if they don't get one of like the Grady Dicks or anything with their first pick, maybe mid-first round, maybe a guy like Jet Howard from Michigan, a guy that has shown some shooting ability, but also maybe can create his own shot and has shown some defense potential as well. Maybe like a Jordan Hawkins shooter. I feel like they don't really need... They should go maybe for a guard, maybe shooting guard, backup guard, or maybe a guy that can play the 2 and the 3 that can space the floor. but also maybe has a little bit creative ability. I don't know, but something around that range. And then maybe free agency getting some depth. Maybe another point guard, maybe another backup forwards, because their backup forwards right now are like Juan Toscano Anderson and Rudy Gay, who I forgot still plays in Utah. But yeah, I think the Utah Jazz really surprised a lot, and their future looks a lot brighter than what we thought it was going to be. Laura Markkinen is going to be a building block for the future. Walker Kessler is a building block for the future. They got guys like Ochai Agbaji, THT, Colin Sexton that potentially can be solid contributing players. They're going to have 2 first-round picks again, maybe even 2 lottery picks this year they can throw into this pile. They have picks for days from the Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert trade. They're going to have multiple first-round picks for the next few years. Yeah, this Utah Jazz rebuild looks like it's going to be something. This Utah Jazz team is set for the future. Yeah, very interested to see what happens for the rest of this Utah Jazz tenure. Interesting to see if our marketing continues to be like how he is. See if Walker Kessler takes another big step up. See guys like Colin Sexton and THT what they do next year, what roles they're going to be in next year. See what they do with guys like Jordan Clarkson or even Kelly Olynyk. Seeing what they do with them, seeing what draft picks they take, seeing maybe in a year or two down the line, maybe they're starting to get good. Maybe they package some of those draft picks and go get a young star to pair with this team. Like, there's a lot of directions they could go, and I'm very, very interested to see what happens in the future. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you haven't watched any of the first few episodes of the Look In series, go watch them. If you like the content, consider subscribing, turn on notifications, all stuff like that. Really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. And I will see you guys tomorrow.